welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is another cast from the Olimoleague replay pack. You can get it at patreon.com/Olimoleague and also be supporting an awesome tournament called the Olimoleague, which happens every Tuesday, usually on Maynard's channel for English speakers and then Frank's channel for any Koreans that I guess coincidentally are here. Who knows? Anyway, it's an awesome tournament. So make sure to check it out, and the best benefit definitely is getting these replays, which are all awesome. This is a series from the tournament that I actually had the pleasure of casting, but didn't actually get around to actually witnessing, since there's only so many games you can fit into a day. I let a couple of these potentially amazing games go, but the good news is they're all in the replay pack, so I try and make it a point to get some of the more interesting ones and show you guys here on this YouTube channel. So in the top left, as the red Protoss, he is Zoun. He is a pretty good Protoss. I think the chat was saying that he's like 6 point... I want to say 0.5, but I'm going to average to 6.4 just in case I get that wrong, but still pretty darn good. In the bottom right, as the blue Terran, it is Dream. And I don't know his MMR, I just know that he's damn good. And TVP seems to be a matchup that not only does he give us really good games with, but also has a couple of neat additions and play styles that maybe we don't see from other Terrans, especially during some, let's say, weaker periods of TVP where Terrans are commiserating together, you know? I'm trying to be PC here. But Dream has, you know, he does things that maybe don't seem like they're totally... I don't actually want to say that they totally make sense, because they actually make total sense, but rather that, you know, no one else does it because it's not exactly the ideal way to go. For instance, I love to bring up the fact that he actually bothers getting a bunker at the third in some of these not matchups, rather some of these games. And that just, like, it just doesn't happen for some reason. Terran players were like, well, it's, you know, not super ideal. 100 minerals and 4 units, that's gonna mess up my build. But it keeps you so much safer. And then the last time we got to witness Dream was in another awesome TVP. If this guy plays a TVP, I want to see it. Where he was able to multitask, not just with a bunch of drops. I mean, that's expected as, you know, you're Terran, you're going to drop and be pretty good at multitasking. But with very complicated sets of units, you know? When you get to that Bio, Ghost, Viking, and even a couple Liberator phase, it's usually boiled down to, okay, we're going to try and catch each other slightly out of position and then pounce on each other with our gigantic armies. But that's not what happened. And I should really recommend that you guys check out Crater's Dream to see exactly what I'm talking about. But he was able to use all of those units in different drops and run-bys, which was just really, really cool to see. So I want to see what he has to show against this up-and-comer Zoun. Now, it's, I think, a little inaccurate to say that he's an up-and-comer. I believe he's actually been around for a while, but when it comes to the Korean scene, it is kind of hard to keep track of who has been, you know, around since literally like B-Team Kespa, you know, an SKT, a KT, whatever, and who actually is new. It's really, really hard, and I don't think you can really say many people are actually new. Like, they started playing StarCraft even 4 years ago, I would consider new. Most of these guys were playing it literally from the get-go or when the Brood War swap happened, so... Can't do too much analysis of this guy's background, but I can say that Zoun's been playing pretty well in the Olimoleague, so I'm hoping this is a good PvP. We have a typical Twilight Council opener with Blink. We've got a wall off here since Zoun can't get too much scouting. He tries with the Adept and then can't see if it's a factory or not. I think with the Adept scouting timing, that not being a factory generally means that it's not going to be a Henlian follow-up, so I'm actually not a fan of this, but I could be, you know, maybe it was like as he got the scout or something, or maybe he just actually has faced people who kind of build up one Hellion at a time instead of swapping to the reactor. Either way, now that would be a weakness to a tank push. Tank pushes are almost completely out of the meta. In fact, what has really taken over on the build order choice of the Terrans is actually just a Widowmine drop Raven follow-up into the 3 barracks, which is exactly what Dream is doing. It's pretty solid. So here comes the Widowmine. Not so much to do damage usually, but rather to get that scouting done. And if you can get damage, definitely get damage. Blink is not done, so it's going to take out that Warping and Stalker in a single probe. Stalker alone makes it kind of worth it, and then the fact the medevac will live. Oh, geez, golly gee. Okay, well, I don't know about live. She'll live temporarily. Yeah. literally one shot from death. If a probe could shoot up, that medevac is dead. All right. Well, she probably won't do anything else, but I'll probably say that and then miss an epic Widowmine drop. Now that's scouted the Twilight Council. At the very least, it scouted that there was stalkers responding and that there was Blink. All right. Finished up as Medevac was trying to get away. Hussein Phoenix is going to get a good idea as to what's going on. We do have some, you know, murmurings of maybe mech being a thing again, thanks to UI. Not going to be the case here, absolutely not. And then no tanks were produced as well, which maybe could have happened in that time frame between the Hussein Phoenix and the Adapt. No, it is that typical follow-up as I was talking about, but we are going to have the addition of Widowmine's Innovation has a build where he just forgoes factory production entirely. But Widowmines can be, you know, obviously very, very useful, especially against what Zoun is doing. You see that Twilight Council opener, you're going to assume that there's a fast third nexus. There's a nexus. Yeah, so you don't scout it, but you're going to assume it, and then you're going to kind of assume that they're going to go in a double upgrade to charge. Now, that's not always a great assumption. Sometimes they are hiding a robo in a robotics base somewhere else, right, that you can't quite glimpse. But this is a very, very typical PVT. And regardless of how Zoun is following up, Dream still wants to do this push. Unfortunately, does not grab that Observer despite opening up the Raven, but did leave a contingent of Marines on that high ground, which clearly Zoun did not expect. Didn't really get the good of a trade as he was hoping for there. He was also hoping to pull the army back, 10 seconds, and instead has found himself at a loss of like 3 or 4 stalkers, and that army is still coming across the map. This Observer can't do anything about that. This probe can't do anything about that, except scout that it is not going to be a 5 racks to base all in. That's all he can do. Otherwise, you guys start pumping those charge lots and hope charge finishes. Charge will be done, but 1-1 will not. A couple more stalkers are included. They can be a very powerful addition to your army, even though Zealots are usually the highlight. Speaking of Zealots and Widowmines, those Widowmines are looking for the shots. They actually grab the Immortal, which is still pretty darn good. Anti-armor missile on top of the Stalkers. Not so much the Zealots, however, which are getting their shots in. No one has upgrades quite yet, which is the good news for Zoun. And this fight, while very, very close, does end up being a hold. A second Immortal came out as well to help punch through those Marauders. And that is that. It was also before Combat Shields was done, which, actually seems like a mistiming. I wasn't quite paying attention there, but a lot of the time you can actually finish this up with Stim, but with the way that Dream had been building, he built one barracks long before the other instead of more close together. So this actually might be a faster push with Stim without combat shields, and that's why Zoun was a little under upgraded. So that is a pretty cool thing to note. But now Combat Shields is done. Now +1 is done for Dream, while Zoun has 1-1 and has also rebuilt that Stalker count, which really cannot be underestimated. You know, a lot of times, especially in the lower leagues, it's just like mass Zealots, man. Because, hey, that works. There's a lot of Terran, let's be real. But Stalkers add that complexity to the army, and of course, they're going to be able to help against the drops, which is exactly what Dream is doing. They can't really help, though, in this situation. Blink was already burned. It was kind of out of this weird angle over this terrain, but the recall is good into the main base, going to force the liftoff once again. 2 medevacs might go down, only 1, and neither one with a lot of units in it, so that was a decent drop there. As long as there wasn't too much loss, then continue trying to disrupt Zoun's economy and his macro. We do have Zoun expanding once again. If you're going to go for just a dedicated style with Charge Lot Stalker, you're going to want to expand to the 4th base pretty quickly. Ghost Academy is on the way. A great response to the army as is, but also a great response to the army of what it will be, which is usually going into those Archons. Some Protosses have been pretty tricky trying to add in double Robo Colossus production before they die, basically, because it's such a big investment. If they're constantly under fire, they could die. But it does kind of take away the power of those ghosts, because ghosts not so much kind of the Colossus and everything else. Widowmine's not quite burrowed, so Zealots do get a couple of shots, but then there are a lot of Widowmines, and Zoun has to retreat, doesn't want to tackle those until he knows that they're all depleted, which they are. Just a bio army up against better upgrades. +1 armor not done. Raven already used. Again, the anti-armor missile not on the Zealots, where it'd be most effective, rather on the Stalkers. Immortal being awfully lazy in the back there. What are you doing, man? Zealots on the front line. Stalkers retreat back, but lose the very expensive Immortal, and these Marauders are doing some serious damage, but most of that army supply are in these medevacs, which one goes down, a second one almost goes down. Zealots on that 3rd base, no bunker there. So every time I bring it up, Dream has yet to do it again. I just want to see the bunker there. It just makes life so much easier. But unfortunately, no bunker in the main base. That makes a lot more sense. Warp Prism shenanigans afoot. Look, Dream did scout it with that supply depot, so he started rallying a little bit back, and Zoun did not have enough reinforcements on top of defending against that attack to actually get too many zealots here to harass. So Dream cleans it up, down to 50 workers, trying to get to a 4th base. He does want to pump up that number just a little bit, but he also wants his upgrades to finish because Zoun is about to hit a 2-2 attack here while he potentially adds on gases to get to Temple Archives behind this. That would be a safe thing to do if this all goes wrong. Zealots flooding forward. What-am-I's do burrow, and they're going to get some pretty nice shots. Raven's still alive, going to go after nothing quite yet. Go for interference pitches on the Warp Prism would have been great, but the Bio Army of Dream a little too much. Zoun perhaps underestimating the Terran Army. An Immortal coming from the left side. It should have been picked off, but the Marauders and Marines are too busy tackling the Zealots. Another anti-armor missile again on units that aren't quite being touched. And it looks like the Raven did finally go down. Almost 11-minute Raven. That's actually pretty impressive. Ghost finally appear as well. They're about to have that EMP upgrade, which will blanket this entire army, Zealots included. One EMP goes down. There's the second one as well. EMP on the Warp Prism 2 makes it awfully low, but it's going to be saved and micro away. Some very extensive Immortals. All the Zealots are down. Most of the Stalkers have gone down. Only some of them escaping as Dream actually picks up to go and chase them. That's pretty cool. It looks like he won't be able to get too much, though, and actually just loses a Marine on the front line. But his 4th base is done. That was saved, turning into a planetary. His 3rd base might still be susceptible to this proxy pylon, which he has not sent anything over to go check. Unfortunately, it's very possible that Zoun was just sending Zealots across the map. Not exactly, you know, dependent on a pylon, but it does make it a little bit quicker, even if it's slow. And just a couple of Zealots are going to ruin Dream's micro more than ruin his day. I mean, a couple SCVs go down, that's not such a big deal. But if he's microing the middle of the map and then looks back at his 3rd, or doesn't look back at his 3rd, then suddenly the kills go way, way up. His reinforcements are once again going to try and tackle this. Zealots went to the 4th base, but the planetary there means that it won't get too much done. 3-3 is on the way for Zoun, where Dream has been stuck on his upgrades. His +1 armor was so late, and even though he had the intentions of going to 2-2, it seems like he has straight up forgotten it. Probably wanted to get it before things got a little heated, and he did, so he missed an opportunity. Now he's pretty all in. These upgrades lucky 3-3 to 1-1, but he grabs an Immortal. Second Immortal very, very low. Warp Prism and units inside of it also very, very low. Storm was not quite done. I don't think he had Templars anywhere, but a lot of charge bots. Where are the EMPs? There. Oh, the Storm! There was a single High Templar in that Warp Prism. And then 2 more bringing up the rear are EMP. Those are a lot of very weak Zealots, but it's enough bio. Again, the upgrade's going to shine through. Wood-O-Mines, though. Oh my god, the Wood-O-Mines doing so much damage. Even doing a little bit of damage to those medevacs. SCVs once again have to be pulled away from the 3rd base. Reinforcements will take care of it. Zoun relentless with this harassment. But speaking of harassment, a couple Wood-O-Mines to the top side. Cannon defense will take care of it, and a simple probe pool, so not too bad there from Zoun. Anticipating at least 1 or 2 drops in a base that is so far away. Dream would really have to commit a lot to go over there now that he knows it's there, which he can't really do. It's been a tug of war in the middle of the map. Finally starts as 2-2, but as Zoun's 3-3 finishes and instantly goes into +1 shields as well. Dream's macro might have been good enough to keep this tug of war going, but soon enough the quality of units will just simply overtake him. He's got to buy a lot of time to get to at least 2-2. A planetary might be that key issue for the Protoss to actually not be able to end this game, but I don't think so. The planetary actually goes down instantly. EMPs blanket the army, but there's just not enough bio with decent upgrades. The Zealots are mostly being cleaned up. Don't forget, Ghosts have some decent damage, actually. I know, well, the Zealot's gone. No Warp Prism available. A lot of these units very, very low for both sides, but we have a mostly Ghost army holding the line. Unfortunately, Dream really did need that 4th base planetary. The repair was late. The army didn't exactly jump on top of Zoun's Protoss army, and that is a lot of economy gone. Not only the planetary died, little, you know, point of defense that he could have been using while the tug of war happens, but also all those SCVs died. So he's just back down to 40. He wants to replace at least a couple, but he has no extra command center, so he'll eventually have to lift his main, and then it'll be a very weak command center, overall command, not a planetary. At this point, as you expand more and more, you want to worry less about harassment as a Terran player, but not going to be the case here. Dream, knowing that he's on the ropes. Will at least have 2-2 finish. They'll only be behind, you know, 3 upgrades instead of 5. Oh, geez. Oh, lordy. If we're including that +1 shields. Vikings on the way might be anticipating a Colossus transition, which would happen by 15 minutes, I think, in a lot of games, but this one's been such a close game. Ooh, that Zoun really hasn't had the time or presence of mind to do so. He's probably anticipating another fight. Well, actually, he's not even anticipating another fight. He's pushing the issue. So it's kind of on Zoun to not have time and minerals and gas to actually go into robo production. So Dream, a little worthless on these Vikings because it's not even like Warp Prism harassment's been that big of a deal, but if he is actually afraid of High Templar drops from the Warp Prism, then you've got to get Vikings. So while the Warp Prism High Templar duo hasn't been like the scariest thing as of yet, it certainly can be, and Vikings will help push that off. EMP on top of all these Zealots. What am I gonna get? One shot, which is pretty good. But again, is there enough bio? High Templar is just not being taken out. Where are the Vikings? Not doing anything. In fact, a lot of them being forced to the right side. Only just now coming through after all the SCVs have died. Recall is going to be used on, what, like half of that army, and half of the rest of it is going to die. Stalkers haven't used that blink. A drop to the top left will take out a 5th base, it looks like, and Zoun does want to continue expanding. He's definitely not in the position to just be lazy about this. So that's actually a really, really good drop. He gets the Nexus, not even a cancel. Scan ahead to see if he can actually beat the game right here, right now. He's got a 3rd CC, a 4th CC, sorry, on the way, even after losing all those SCVs, but he doesn't actually have enough SCVs to saturate it. Well, I guess he does if he's completely mined out, which he actually is. Main natural 3rd, mostly mined out here. Orbital has lifted to the 4th base. That would be a would-be 5th. But what about the fight going on here? Drop in the main base is being tackled. A couple of units are going to go down, even in the defense there. Vikings on the front line looking for the War Prism, so it's just going to be ground-based High Templars right now, which is exactly what the EMPs want. But are there enough EMPs? He does get one of them. Even after the Ghost dies, there comes the War Prism, but it actually doesn't really have the same strength as it used to. Even an EMP on top of that War Prism, and this is going to be an interesting fight. Upgrade severely in favor of the Protoss. Concave, though, pretty good for both parties. It looks like there's just too many units, and the Medivacs are forced to pick up and retreat. Now, they do pick up most of the army, but that's just actually sad news. That was the army that was being left over. And, of course, all those extra Medivacs now dead means it's just another thing that Dream has to replace. He's trying to take out the production. He scans ahead to evacuate on time, but that is still a lot of units, especially good units against the mostly Marauder Medivac composition he's going for, which would be powerful, which would be very good at microing. You would get the best benefit from being able to use that Marauder slow against like a mass charge on army if you're the best microer in the world. But actually against what Zoun has, a Mortal Stalker charge lot just for buffer and then Archon, those Stalkers will be able to blink forward and snipe those very low number of Marauders. Those Immortals will be able to break through them, and Dream's army is actually not that powerful, even as he finally catches up on those upgrades. Attack is going to finish here before the next fight, but not many Medivacs. Storms are taken out of the equation. One more EMP on about a 3rd of that army, but that is it. Is that it for Dream? The rest of his army, the Medivacs, are now flying home, but a little too late here. Reinforcements very, very slow to come as he tries to get in a couple more ghosts. That's very expensive. He might be able to grab an Immortal, not going to be able to grab it. 2 Medivacs do come home, which means that they're not taking out this new would-be 5th base. Dream still trying to expand, however, he's not giving up yet. Although the tug of war has certainly gone in favor of Zoun. No one's fallen into the mud pit quite yet. SCDs are transferred to the planetary, which I guess Zoun is unaware of, as the pylon has been cleaned up. I don't know when that happened, but a while ago probably. Zealot scouting around, trying to see any potential drops that could really change the tide of this game. Certainly a triple or quadruple drop into the main. If he doesn't have recall especially, would be disastrous. Speaking of disastrous, that War Prism almost dies to the Widow Mine, full of High Templars. That would have been an amazing pickoff. But no Vikings in sight. They died in that last engagement. Widow Mine's going to be coming forward here, going to take out some really important Zealots, but more High Templars. No Ghosts with energy, at the very least, able to take out the Storms, and Dream is up against something very powerful, but it's so far so good. He's dodging, he's weaving, and the High Templars are forced to become Archons. With the War Prism not actually dead means that more Zealot reinforcements are on the way, and they have +2 shields now, as well as the rest of their upgrades. Insanely buffed ground army. More EMPs coming through here, and that is probably the best bet when you do have lower upgrades, and your upgrades aren't looking so hot. take away like half of their health, and maybe that just means you'll be able to overpower them, you know, but I don't know. Dream doesn't exactly have the overpowering army. EMPs do catch about a quarter, I'll say actually more half of the army, but as more zealots come in, that army gets bigger and bigger. Just the sheer size of it is soon going to be enveloping Dream's Terran army. The Widow Mines are his last hope. They're going to get a couple of decent shots, even on the Archons. Not too bad, and Zoun even realizing he should have respected that army, but no more EMPs as more High Templars come through. Zoun on 5 bases, mining pretty happily, is going to be able to continue this and transfer over into that Rogo, finally going into those Colossus. Dream is going to have a last stand, it looks like, here, as he tries to jump on top of the army before the Zealot reinforcements can come in, but there they are. No more Widow Mines, no more EMPs. A lot of the army in the back is weak, but he can't actually reach it. Another EMP that goes saving the day there. Zoun is like, why can't I crack this Terran here? God. Some of that does happen to be that the upgrades are finally more even, but +3 shields about to finish. This army is insane, but it is being taken out slowly but surely. The Archons go down. More Zealots coming through here. Widow Mines, you gotta burrow, you gotta do something. Medivacs are actually out of juice, by the way. An important part of this fight. Widow Mine on top of the Immortals, and the barriers are back up. Second Widow Mine shot takes out the second one, but that might not be enough. Zoun is finally gonna find the Nugity cluster that is Dream's production, with a very few units left over. But imagine, guys, imagine if he had been able to take out that War Prism. If a single Marine had shot it, if a single Viking had shot it on top of that Widow Mine, there would have been no High Templars for the first fight. There would have been no more reinforcements. That thing's reinforced like 7 times by now, and he probably would have won that fight, and this game goes on for an even longer 30-minute game, perhaps, since Dream did manage to grab another base of mining. But it is what it is. He loses his orbital at his 3rd. He lost the orbital at his 4th. He's down to 2 command centers, and his SCVs are about to be demolished. Immortal's going to be able to take on the planetary despite the mass repair, and Dream's almost out of minerals anyways. His army, where even is it? That is going to be it. Zoun, with an amazing tug-of-war game, purely dependent for so long on just well-upgraded gateway units, and then just a bit of the High Templars in the last 6 minutes, is going to be able to take game number 1 against Dream, who is usually so damn good at this matchup. And I didn't really see a lot of them not being good. I just saw Zoun, you know, actually being up to the task of taking on Dream. So props to him. Looking forward to game number 2. Game number 2 on Winter's Gate. This would have been Dream's map choice. In the Olimoleague, the first map is default. Second map is loser's pick, with a total of 5 maps in the map pool. So it does reduce your choices and force you to be a little uncomfortable. They have put the really, really odd maps as the default first map in certain bracket stages before, and they'll do it again. But with this map pool, there's not so many oh my god, I can't believe it maps. Winter's Gate, I personally just am so frustrated with these interference matrix. I realize their intent. I realize that they're you know, pretty interesting part of the map. When you look at it as a fan, as a viewer, but when you play it and you see an opportunity to immediately go across the map and jump on an opportunity, and then you are running through slow zones, it's just annoying. You know, it's actually, I can't explain it more than that. You know, I'm not saying that it's imbalanced or that it's a terrible mechanic necessarily. I just find it super annoying. But otherwise, all of our maps here for this season really aren't that bad. In terms of like, wow, this is so weird, and I can't believe I would never choose this against X race. But I say that there are definitely some complaints about the size of the map, which map makers are usually pretty quick to point out that they're really not that much bigger than other seasons. But there does seem to be a significant lack of, and by significant I mean like there's not even like 2 maps that are considered like shorter, is usually where, you know, some of those Terran pushes swing back the momentum, especially against Zerg, or even Protosses actually, can truly threaten with a push as opposed to having to walk across the map. But in this matchup, TVP, I'm not really sure where the complaints lie. I don't think they really do. The complaints lie, I guess, well, in the actual matchup, not necessarily the maps that affect it, whereas for TVZ, TVZ is almost always pointed more to the maps. If it is short and there's a direct push from your expansion to the Zerg opponent, well, the Zergs will be like, hey, that's actually kind of unfair. Like, look how good they can push. And if it's not available like that, then the Terrans are like, hey, how do we even push? You know, there's too much space, there's too many run-by potentials, there's too much creep that can be spread, even if I try and cover it, because there's like 5 different avenues. That's more on the maps, this is more on the balance of the actual matchup, which for a while I know we all had a lot of complaints personally, and we saw complaints from, you know, the pros. So watch this Reaper do whatever it can. But it's kind of settled. I mean, I'm sure there's still complaints, but the 2-base tank all-ins that were just like, oh, here we go again, is not, you know, they're gone, really, for the most part. The urgency of any Terran player to 2-base tank all-in, like, you know, legitimately, like, just send everything forward is also gone. We see a lot more expansions, fast third bases even. And a lot of that is, you know, moving forward in the meta, acknowledging that what was temporarily working no longer works, and complaining isn't going to actually push anything. But a lot of it is more so that EMP upgrade. It made Terrans feel a lot safer in that mid-game, late game, where they are facing a lot of what Zoun did in game number 1. They are facing a lot of that. So if the EMP upgrade makes Terrans feel like they can actually tackle that type of composition, and then also the follow-up storm much easier, and it creates a very interesting, you know, battle as well when you see the War Prism zipping around and the pro Terrans putting all that, then Terrans are going to feel that they can expand, that they can play to the late game, even though there are still some other complaints about matching the late game for late game here. But that just kind of, you know, is TLDR of all the matchups, all the maps. There you go. Just to buy some time as we see some, once again, pretty typical openers. We have the 1-1-1 Wouldn't Mind drop. This is more the timing of the barracks that I'm familiar with. So combat shields should be done with stim with this version. Actually, I take that back. There's no Raven. So for sure, since I put them at Tech Labs earlier on, this will have those combat shields. Yeah. The barracks is as close as it was, so it's definitely be transferred over. So no Raven this time. But still, though, What Am I drop? Looking for an opportunity. Blink's not quite done once again, but we'll finish in just a hot second here. What Am I's gonna land wherever they can, but Medevac is gonna go down. That last game, Medevac, by the way, I think it just died. At some point, F2 happened, or it tried and then failed miserably. +1 weapon's also going to be on the way, I believe, a lot faster than last game. It matched up pretty much with Zoun's upgrades. So, as I was saying last game, I think that build that Dream was doing was just a bit faster of an attack with stim, as opposed to having all these upgrades. But then I was like, wait a minute, did he get Marauder Slow before combat shields? Is that why it was a little bit later? And that is actually what he's doing. Now, Marauder Slow is one of the fastest upgrades. I was like, wait, no, hold on. Yeah, there it is. It is one of the faster upgrades. It's cheap, it's fast. There's a reason that there's even still some Marauder openers, even though the Marauder itself is a little more expensive. Because it's actually just like, it's a very important upgrade, but it's totally a non-issue about actually getting that upgrade. Certainly no one ever was like, this game's over because my Marauder Slow got sniped. You know, just retrieve the Tech Lab and stop whining. So I feel like the combat shields, yeah, immediately started, might still not time up exactly with stim, but it'll time pretty closely. And this way, any stalker shenanigans on the front lines, which usually is what is happening when they open up with Blink, won't be as annoying to deal with. And in fact, they might even surprise the Protoss player when they're like, oh, wow, hey, Marauder Slow's already done. What are you doing? But speaking of what the Protoss is doing, no double forge here. Third Nexus, not a time that I would expect, but yeah, no double forge. He's more so looking for an attack, already up to 8 gateways. Which can be a little deceiving for a Terran player who might be anticipating another tug of war, basically, but instead there's going to be 8, 16, 24 more charge lots than they anticipated. War Prism coming to the south, by the way, totally unseen. Observer sees nothing but rallying units, and a third base is going to be on the way as well to the SP position. One of mine's going to be taken out? Well, in a way. They do take out all the Zealots with them. Here comes the Observer now, but a little late to the party. Zealot's going to be microed again, so they are going to go down. The Stalker's still doing their damage to this army, and here comes the War Prism from behind, perhaps. ready for that army to retreat, but it's not retreating quite yet. Dream with the micro on top of these units trying to tackle the Stalkers. This was also right before combat shields was done, so a bit of an anti-timing, but at least +1 was done and no upgrades for Zoun. Will that be the big difference maker? Dream has no idea that his opponent is actually trying to all-in him right now, so this third CC is going to have to be canceled. More Zealots coming from the left side. A big surprise. There's the cancel and the instant takeoff. A good focus fire from the Stalkers takes out the medevac with 4 Marauders. That would have been so helpful. The command center should live, but will Dream actually live? I don't know about that. His upgrades are all finally done, but losing 4 very important units and just taking that fight in the middle of the map, thinking incorrectly that his opponent was going to be more on the defense, might have just got him. He does not lift the supply depot, letting all of the army in, and he just taps out Zoun. Showing a lot of the same thing as last game. It's very difficult to actually get a full scout in the main base, to see all the gateways are already done, and that there's no double forge even trying to delay them. There's no immortal production that, again, could delay such reinforcements. Nope, just pure army, and it can be difficult to tackle. It's hard to scout, and then as soon as you realize, like, oh, wait a second, it might already be too late. But really well done by Zoun to mix some things up. You got to throw one in all in of some type and a best of, especially against these established pros, which, again, Zoun has been, I think, around the StarCraft 2 block a little while. It's not really established, so he actually moves forward in the Olimoleague and continues to show a good presence there. The Olimoleague is definitely the place to look at if you're looking for someone that you don't quite recognize actually doing really well. And I would consider taking Dream out 2-0 as a Protoss player to be really well. Hope you guys enjoyed this cast. I look forward to another one. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can see as soon as I upload another cast. Could be from the Olimoleague, could be from Streamers Replay Pack, could be even suggested by you guys if you would like me to cast it. I do cast sub-replays every Thursday, and that includes your replays, your friends' replays, anyone's replays. And obviously I do daily uploads to this YouTube channel, so I'd really appreciate the support. Thanks, guys, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.